It may be hard to believe, but the era of the road-going Aston Martin Valkyrie hypercar has come to an end. With a new model in the pipeline, the Valhalla, production for the Valkyrie ended last year, leaving us dreaming the story would continue for a while longer. And guess what? It does, as Aston pulled the wraps off their new WEC and IMSA endurance racing contender. Built on the same platform and using the same powertrain as its road-going sibling, the Valkyrie race car will be chasing the win in the world's most demanding endurance competitions, including the iconic Le Mans, starting later this year. We've known for a while that such a transformation of the hypercar is coming, but this week the British carmaker spilled all the beans on both the race car itself, but also on the teams of drivers that will line up on the starting grid under the Aston Martin colors. First up, the car. As said, we're talking about the regular Valkyrie, but modified to be compliant with the FIA regulations that govern the World Endurance Championship and the American IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. And that makes it, as per the company, the only competitor that is derived from a road-legal hypercar. In its standard configuration, the vehicle is powered by a V12 6.5-liter naturally aspirated engine made by Cosworth, capable of delivering in excess of 1,000 horsepower and 11,000 RPM. The same unit stays on deck for Aston Martin's racing exploits, but as per the competition's requirements, power levels have been brought down to 671 horsepower, and lean burn abilities have been added. The engine is controlled by Instrax's 7-speed sequential transmission, controlled by the driver using semi-automatic paddle shift gear changes. Upgrades have been made to the car's carbon fiber chassis as well, as the racer had to be prepared to withstand the rigors of being in operation for long periods of time. The chassis was also gifted with a revised suspension system, which now comes with double wishbones front and rear, pushrod-actuated torsion bar springs, and adjustable side and central dampers. The racing Valkyrie touches the ground with a set of Michelin Pilot Sport wrapped around 18-inch wheels, the mandatory configuration under endurance racing rules. Above and around them, the car's bodywork seems the same as the one we know, but it's actually not. Aston had to turn to a series of changes needed to make the car endurance racing compliant. For instance, in a bid to allow for fast driver and tire changes, it installed quick-change front and rear bodywork and a high-speed pneumatic jack system built right into the chassis. Aston then went for a single-point rapid coupling to allow for faster and safer refueling. This configuration of the Valkyrie has been undergoing testing since the summer of last year, clocking since then some 9,320 miles, or 15,000 kilometers, of testing. Runs of the car have been performed at Dunnington Park, Silverstone, Vallelunga, Jerez, Road Atlanta, Sebring, and Daytona. All this effort is meant to support a dual race program that will see 2 Valkyries line up on the starting grid of the WEC and one on that of the IMSA races. It is in the WEC that Aston Martin will mark a return to endurance racing, with the pair of Valkyries set to attend the season opener in Qatar at the end of this month. The 2 cars will be raced by the Aston Martin THOR Team, and they'll be donning the green livery that often adorns the cars made by the Brits. For the upcoming 24 hours of Le Mans race in June, Aston Martin will give control over the cars to an all-British driver lineup. Taking point are Harry Tinknell and Tom Gamble, racing in car number 007, accompanied by Marco Svensson and Alex Riberas in car number 009. As for the IMSA entry, the car Aston will field there, number 23, will be painted in a blue livery that will first make its presence felt during the Sebring 12 hours scheduled for March 12th. The car will be piloted by Ross Gunn and Roman De Angelis. We should expect to see the 3 Valkyries racing for hours on end quite a lot this year. That's because the 2025 WEC season comprises a total of 8 rounds, while the IMSA roster for this year counts even more races, 11.